Hello friends, it's Brooke-Sidney here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm excited to help you stop being ghosted and rejected by your specific person. But before I get into it, and this one's going to be juicy, I want to invite you to work with me two ways. For those of you that are still stuck, you're still trying to manifest that SP or more money or a better job, whatever it is. Two ways to work with me. The first one is email coaching, and I also offer one-on-one coaching. Those links are below. And to support you all on this beautiful manifestation and personal development journey, I have two communities. That information is also listed below. So today I wanted to get into the sensitive topic of how to stop being ghosted or rejected by your SP. I feel like most people can relate to at some point in their, love journey that they have felt rejected, abandoned, or what we call today now just simply ghosted. And so I want to talk to you about how to stop being ghosted by your SP and being ghosted in general. So the first thing that I want to say is that you have to take accountability for the ghosting and the rejection. And I feel like this is the hardest part. This is the part where most of us stumble because we want to keep the story about the other person. We want to make our relationship troubles, our love troubles, all about the other person. It's really easy to do because that's what we see in the news. That's what we see from our family and friends. That's like in culture, is to really talk about the other person, to label them as something, they have an avoidance, attachment style, they're a narcissist, they're BPD, whatever. This is commonly how we talk about relationships today. It's always about kind of blaming the other person. And so in order to stop the rejection and the ghosting, the first step is to actually take accountability for it, to know that although it is really, really hard to stomach, that there's a part of you that created this, right? So that's like the second point. After you decide, okay, I'm going to take accountability for it, which means you can actually change it. Then number two, I need to look within me to find out what part of me is feeling ghosted, rejected, or abandoned. And truthfully, for all the work that I've done on myself around love, all the work that I know that I've done with my clients, especially my women clients, it usually comes back to some childhood trauma, either with our parents or where we might have felt rejected as a child, or else we had, I think in our early formative years around relationships, some series of rejection or abandonment. So what ends up happening is that we come to expect this in our relationships. And so if you know that, which brings me to number three, is that you are actually creating this cycle of rejection or ghosting, because at some point your natural assumption or your dominant belief system, your dominant self-concept involves being rejected. It involves being abandoned. It involves being ghosted. And so we end up essentially manifesting that reality that we have felt internally for however long we've been experiencing it. And usually it is from childhood. And so the sad part is that it's hard to admit this. It's hard to look within. It's hard to face it. And for many people, it's hard to overcome. I know that for myself and a lot of my clients, many of us have gotten onto this manifestation journey because we wanted to change certain things about ourselves and as a result, change what we're manifesting. And so this one is really, really key. To begin with, how do we stop it? Now that we've addressed it, we've acknowledged it, and we are kind of owning that we are in essence creating it. It's not our fault. It's not about blame. It's not about feeling bad about ourselves. Again, it's about taking responsibility so that we can make the efforts to manifest something new. And so one of the ways that you can really work on manifesting better relationships and stop rejection and ghosting and abandonment is to start to work on your like inner child traumas. And that begins by showing up for yourself, loving yourself, and choosing yourself, which is my next big point, is that you have to work on yourself. You are the first person that has ghosted yourself, right? I consider putting someone else on a pedestal as essentially ghosting or rejecting or not choosing yourself, because you should be the center of your life. You should be the dominant, right, and operant power in your life. And when you put someone else on the pedestal, when you focus on someone else, when you stop focusing on yourself, you are essentially ghosting yourself. You are essentially rejecting yourself. And so our job here is to start putting ourselves back on the pedestal, to start choosing ourselves, to start cherishing ourselves, to start being there for ourselves, and to stop abandoning ourselves, rejecting ourselves, and ghosting ourselves. To stop these dominant belief systems that we're always going to get hurt, that we're always going to be abandoned, that we're always going to be rejected, or that we're always going to be ghosted. So it's really about doing the self-love, that inner child work, and creating a new self-concept or a new dominant belief system, which we call natural assumption, that flows that I am chosen, I am loved, I am supported, I am shown up for, I am cherished, I am honored, I am respected, right? And when you start developing that strong self-concept of being chosen, cherished, loved, supported, shown up for, guess what happens? That's what you begin to manifest. That's what your relationships start to look like. That's what your life starts to look like, not just in your relationships with the intimate partners, but all over. And bonus is you become unavailable for the relationships that are not showing up for you. You no longer allow yourself to be in places with people that ghost you, that reject you, that abandon you, that don't show up for you, and definitely not choose you. Your new self-concept, both about love and in love, is one where you're always chosen. So you are not gonna dilly-dally with someone who doesn't choose you. You're not even gonna tolerate, you're not even gonna be available for those type of relationships. And as you start to energetically become this woman or this man, this queen or this king that's unavailable for wishy-washy, hot and cold behavior from SPs, from rejection and ghosting, and from not being committed and not being clear and not showing up for you, guess what? You energetically send a signal and you don't see that anymore. Not only does your belief system start to reflect it, your energy, your vibration, your field, your sense of self becomes completely unavailable for those type of relationships and those type of people. So guess what? They fall away. You are no longer going to be seeing these type of relationships, and you're going to start being surprised by the people that start showing up for you, that start loving you, that start being consistent, that start choosing you. And as you put the more focus back on yourself, you drop that story. I have a whole video about dropping the story. You start putting yourself back on the pedestal. I have some videos about that. I'm going to link the specific person playlist here. But once you start making yourself, again, the prize, the person on the pedestal, the most important thing in your life, your energy is going to shift, and it's going to send a message to the SP and to everybody else how valuable and worthy you are. And it's going to change your energy from being energy of lack and needy and scarcity to being fully chosen, loved, valuable, and worthy, all of your own. And you will shift this energy and you will shift this pattern because you have shifted the way that you feel about yourself, the way you see yourself, and the way you show up for yourself. It all begins with you. So I'm so excited that you guys are going to make these shifts, that you are going to stop being rejected, abandoned, and ghosted by your specific person and manifest in the love that you desire. I'm so excited for this to work for you. Make sure you're subscribed, you like this video, and I will see you tomorrow.